British politician Boris Johnson is speeding towards 10 Downing Street. He's outlasted all other candidates except for Foreign Secretary Jeremy Hunt. And things got heated quickly when the two went toe-to-toe on Tuesday night.
And the difference between you and me is you are peddling optimism. And I'm saying we can make a tremendous...
a bit of optimism,
Boris,
frankly.
why don't you... We can make...
I think...
Whoever gets more votes this month from the Conservative Party's 130,000 members will have to steer the UK through its exit from the EU. And Johnson says he can do it on schedule and within budget.
It's vanishingly inexpensive if you prepare. So, for instance, what we need to do is to make sure that the agricultural sector is properly safeguarded and that we have just-in-time supply chains properly protected, that we have deals on aviation, and all that. Much of this work has been done. We're virtually that. And I'll just make one additional point. We will have, if we have to go out on no deal, we will have £39 billion to spend, which I think will be very helpful.
Hunt also said he won't delay Brexit any further.
This matters to me because my birthday is actually on the 1st of November, and nothing would be a better birthday present. A birthday present than knowing we've left on the 31st of October.
But analysts say whoever wins will likely change their tone once in office.
Once the leader is elected, then I think you're likely to see the realpolitik come home, and you've got to deal with the parliamentary arithmetic, you've got to deal with the EU negotiators and so on. So they can say what they like, in a sense. I wouldn't be reading too much into it.
Brexit is scheduled to happen on October 31st. If it's delayed again, it could further strain the economy. GDP grew 0.3% in May, beating analysts' expectations. But the rise wasn't enough to cover productivity losses from the previous month when GDP fell 0.4%. And the Bank of England says it expects economic growth to be flat through July. Much of the boost to economic activity in May came from car plants starting up again after they had been shut down before the previous Brexit deadline in April. A no-deal Brexit could force temporary closures again.
It's going to be a tremendous success.
So the incoming Prime Minister has a tough job ahead, delivering Brexit while keeping the economy afloat. Mobin Nasir, TRT World.
Well, let's get more on this now with Chris Roebuck, an economist and leadership expert in London. Good to have you back on Money Talks, Chris. So who do you think fared better after this debate, Jeremy Hunt or Boris Johnson?
It depends what you want. If we look at it from the leadership perspective, you can have a leader that's charismatic or a leader that's less charismatic. You can have a leader that's telling people what they want to hear or telling people perhaps more what the truth is. And what we saw there was actually a sort of, some might say, a dangerous combination of Boris Johnson, the charismatic leader telling people what they want to hear, versus Jeremy Hunt, who is perhaps the less charismatic leader, telling people more like the reality that it is. And in those situations, what always happens is potentially that it's the charismatic leader who is telling people what they want to hear who gets the job. That's the way it just works out.
Yes, and of course, in this race, they don't have to appeal to the broader public. They just need to appeal to Conservative Party members, which I think make just 0.25% of the population, according to some figures.
Yeah.
Who do you think will win in their eyes?
Well, the Conservative Party group is an interesting group. They are absolutely fixated on delivering Brexit by October the 31st. Polls have shown that as far as that group of people is concerned, they are prepared to tolerate, one, significant damage to the UK economy, and two, even the potential break up of the UK to get Brexit by the 31st of October, even with a no deal. To be blunt, the rest of the population, or a fair percentage of the population in UK, thinks that that is absolutely madness. The issue also is that in terms of economic damage, the demographic of the Conservative Party is average age 57, financially well off. So in terms of that damage affecting them, the impact on them will be significantly less than the potential impact on poorer and younger people who are likely to have to live with the consequences.
Now, Boris Johnson has so far refused to rule out the possibility of suspending the UK Parliament in order to push through a no-deal Brexit. So is that his strength, do you think, the fact that he could potentially deliver a no-deal Brexit against the wishes of the UK Parliament?
I think the challenge there is, it's again with Boris, it's how do the words stack up against the reality that is potentially going to happen? Because Boris is, as I say, a charismatic leader. He's saying the words. The question also revolves around, leadership is not the position you hold, it's the way you act. It's about not only having a good plan, but it's also bringing people together. It's having a we, not me ethos. It's putting yourself after the common good. It's actually acting with integrity. It's being honest. It's being truthful. It's not lying. So the problem is that if you tell people what they want to hear and then down the road it doesn't work, you have more of a problem. The question is, in terms of British parliamentary operation, there is extremely strong resistance in both Parliament and in the country, even amongst Boris supporters, to the idea of trying to subvert the will of Parliament.
That's right. And Jeremy Hunt, of course, in all this is the underdog here. But what are his strengths in his leadership and what he has promised to deliver that could potentially get him over the line?
The question is, how far behind is Jeremy Hunt? And the issue there is that he is a long way behind in terms of the initial votes. Hunt's advantage is that what Hunt is doing is taking a steady approach to potentially delivering a plan step by step. And if you listen to the debate, he had what was a much clearer plan with milestones than Boris did. Boris was talking about generalities. We will have this ready, we will have that ready, this is going to happen, that's going to happen, without any underlying detail of the execution. So, to be honest, Hunt is the safe pair of hands that is saying this might not be as easy as we think. Boris is the charismatic guy who's saying, don't worry, it's all going to be fine. And there are people in the UK who are saying that Boris is, to some degree, an ambitious demagogue rather than a true leader. But as far as the Conservative Party are concerned, he is telling them what they want to hear. And they seem to be determined to go with that.
OK, not long now until the Conservative Party members go and vote for their leader. Chris Roebuck, thank you for your thoughts, as always.